Welcome to the JSFL Season 2 Draft. All the rookies are ready to play, and this draft will see where they go to. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. This screen you'll be seeing the whole time for the draft because I couldn't think of what to put on. So yeah. All the players have already been selected, but I'm here to pretty much think on what I thought about the pick, and I'll tell you the pick after. So yeah. The Heisman winner was Trent Hudson. We didn't have the college championship game for a lack of reasons I can't really explain. So yeah, but here is the draft. So pick 1 in the JSFL draft. The Atlanta Predators are on the clock. So on the clock, I'll pretty much give you what they needed and what they could have went with. So QB was a big need. Warren Jones left. Linebackers were kind of a small need because Luke Sharp retired. Offensive line, a little bit of a need. Running back was a humongous need. And then cornerback was a big need too. So the first pick in the JSFL draft, I thought they would have went with QB, obviously, and here's what they go with. The first pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Atlanta Predators select Trent Hudson, quarterback, South. So the Heisman winner picked first. I don't think it's too much of a big surprise. Great season. Barely won Heisman over Nestor Hood, but his teammate, who he was throwing the ball to. So, great season from Trent Hudson. Hopefully, he can do big things in the league. So, pick 2. The Cleveland Pirates are on the clock. So, Pirates, they had problems at the QB because Daniel Rodriguez retired. Wide receiver, a smaller need. Offensive line was a need. Defensive tackle was a need because they actually traded Dwight Edwards. Oh, I have to go for trades. I'll do that after this pick. And it's all the needs I really saw. Yeah. And halfback, but they also traded for a halfback, so maybe a backup. But obviously another obvious choice. They go for their QB of the future. So with the second overall pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Cleveland Pirates select Kendall Hastings, quarterback, West. So Hastings is the one that gets selected over Dackerson and Foster. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good thing. He's good at throwing the deep ball, so maybe put some pieces around him later that can maybe catch the deep ball. But Mario Bowen's pretty good at that, so we'll see how he does on that team. But let me look at the trades real quick. A couple trades happened that were pretty big. Eugene Green left Kansas City for Luke Frankie and Dominic Travai from New York. So Dominic Travai and Luke Frankie are part of the win, and Eugene Green is now in New York. Angel Alexander came from Minneapolis to Kansas City. They had a few trades. Ronald Roberts wanted out, so Angel Alexander's now from Kansas City. Ronald Roberts in Minneapolis. Another trade. We only have 2 more. Alan Simmons left Kansas City, so another Kansas City trade for Roland Murray of Detroit Towers corner. So Detroit needed their wide receiver, and they got it. And the biggest trade, the Cleveland Pirates traded Dwight Edwards and Neil Mendoza for Phoenix Steel Monsters, Frank Jog and Dimitri Roundhouse. So Cleveland got their number 1 back, and Phoenix got a good defensive tackle. So yeah, that's how the trade went. So maybe that helps you a little more with some of these picks. With the third pick, the New York Businessmen are on the clock. So New York, they needed linebackers, defensive tackle, defensive ends, wide receivers. A little secondary help would be nice. And then that's pretty much all the big needs. So without further ado, the third overall pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the New York Businessmen select Corey Palmer, linebacker, East. So the number 1 draft linebacker projection goes 3rd overall to the Businessmen. Maybe the Ronaldo Smith clone, per se. He's pretty good linebacker outside, though, instead of inside. So we'll see how he does in that system. Hopefully he does some good things for New York. So with the fourth pick, the JSFL draft, the Minneapolis Fishers are on the clock. So the Fishers, they had needs, not too many of them actually. A little bit of a backup running back, maybe. They needed the defensive end because they traded Alexander. They needed QB, and they needed a little bit of offensive line help. But besides that, no big needs. A little bit of wide receiver, maybe, but it won't probably be needed till later. So, yeah. But here, without further ado, in the Season 2, JSFL draft, the Minneapolis Fishers select, 4th overall, Tony Dackerson, QB, North. So Dackerson off the board, the strong QB in this draft class. And we'll see what he can do. Excuse me one second. As he goes 4th overall to Minneapolis. And now, with the 5th pick, the Houston Enforcers are on the clock. So Houston, their needs were offensive line, linebacker, wide receiver, tight end was their big one, I think, and secondary. So I think what their pick was here was really good and a pretty good steal if you had, I may add, even though it was only the 5th pick. So with the 5th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, Heisman runner-up, they select Nestor Hood, wide receiver, South. So Hood off the board, and that was a great steal. And just a great steal there from Houston, as I think the next team up would have easily taken Hood, because I just think that's what they would have done there. So yeah, the next pick was, oh no, wait, no, 2 more picks that would have taken. So the LA Earthquake with the 6th overall pick, they're on the clock. So LA's needs were defensive end, wide receiver. Oh no, my bad, that was the wrong one. Their needs were linebacker, big. They needed a QB. They needed offensive line help. And that's pretty much it. So with the 6th overall pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the LA Earthquake select Terry Foster, QB East. So the last starting quarterback of a college team goes 6th overall to the LA Earthquake as Carlos Young retired. A lot of retiring QBs this year. And a lot of new ones coming. So Foster, see what he can do in LA. 7th pick, the power on the clock. Be back to you in 1 second. So we're back with the JSFL draft, and so 7th overall, the Detroit Power on the clock. And their needs were defensive end, wide receiver, secondary, defensive tackle, and that is pretty much it. So with the, I think their pick here is good. Best person of his spot in the draft, so nice steal from Detroit. And they went with the 7th overall pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft. The Detroit Power select Josiah Hands, free safety, North. So Hands, the best secondary member of the class, and he's the short interception goddess coming out of high school. They're decent in college, but I think high school really informed Power what he was capable to do, and they put him on Detroit, see what he can do. Because their secondary struggled a little last year with giving away too many points, so hopefully Hands can help him out. And at the 8th pick, the Charlotte Bats are on the clock. So their needs were quarterback. Jameson is kind of bad. Offensive line, linebacker, inside linebacker, I should add. Defensive end, wide receiver was a big one, and secondary a little bit. So their pick was great here. I think it needed to be done. If they waited another round, I don't think it would have been the end of the world. But it's a good place to take them. So, with further ado, with the 8th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Charlotte Bats select Edward Phillips, quarterback, East. So the backup to Terry Foster gets picked, and he hasn't had any college play time, so we'll see how the unexperienced quarterback does in Charlotte with a pretty decent system around him, at least in the run game. But we'll see how he does. So now the 9th pick belongs to the Seattle Natives, so let's see what their needs were. They needed offensive line, corner or secondary help, defensive end because Walter Sandals retired, maybe a backup running back, and then an edge rusher. So best edge rusher in the class, actually, on the linebacking spot, best edge rushing linebacker. So the kind of spoiled up there, but with the 9th overall pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Seattle Natives select William Hexel, linebacker, North. So Hexel falls in the first round. His brother's still in the draft, or cousin, I should say, is still in the draft. We'll see where he can fly, maybe in the 3rd round or 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe even 7th. I'm sure he'll be drafted. He was a pretty good pass coverage guy, but his cousin was all about the rush game. And that got him the Natives' eye, as they needed another rusher. So the Natives, good pick there. And now the New Orleans Musicians have the 10th pick. And their needs were defensive end, offensive line on the tackle spot. Then nothing really else after that. They sold their... Never mind there. Don't know what to say there. And then, oh yeah, wide receiver was a decent need, but wasn't the biggest need because their wide receivers did pretty well last season. But we'll see what they did. With the 10th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the New Orleans Musicians select Landon Dante, wide receiver, West. So they could have went with anyone here. There's a few guys I don't know, but they wanted to get the big name receiver in New Orleans, or such guys as he's regressing here in his older days. So they give him a big target from West, Landon Dante, to throw to. The number 1 prospect, but Hood did have a better season than him in college, so I guess not. I would have taken him as the 2nd wide receiver, though. So yeah. Now, with the 11th pick, the Wind had the pick. They needed offensive line, secondary, pretty much any spot on the defense. Any spot on the defense, pretty much. Linebacker, yeah. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, also quarterback. So, with the 11th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Kansas City Wind select Ian Petty, defensive tackle, East. So the X Factor defensive tackle, who was a power bull rusher in college and high school, goes to Kansas City as to try to help that line out a little bit because it is going to struggle this season because they're going to be full of rookies and not that good of players. And Ian Petty hoping to help that out as they spend their first pick on him. With the last pick of the first round and the pick 12, the Phoenix Steel Monsters, the world champs, are on the clock. So Phoenix, they needed help on wide receiver because no breaks left. Linebacker was a little bit of a need. Running backs been as maybe a Frank Jog replacement. Offensive line, secondary a little bit on the free safety spot. Again, wide receiver, and then offensive line, which I think I said all of those. So with the 12th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Phoenix Steel Monsters select Humphrey Charles, right guard, or guard I should say, East. So the best offensive line prospect falls to the Phoenix Steel Monsters. That's our first offensive lineman selected in the draft. Surprisingly, but a lot of teams had bigger needs than offensive linemen. But Phoenix, they are struggling on the inside of the interior of the offensive line. The outside's pretty good, but they need help inside. And Humphrey Charles is going to be that little help, as Julio doped alone this season, unless they get a replacement for Frank Jog. So they're going to need all that help on the offensive line. So now we get to the second round of the draft. With the 13th pick, the Atlanta Predators had the pick. And again, we already told you their needs. Go rewind the video if you need to. Last time they selected Trent Hudson, first overall. And 13th overall, the Atlanta Predators select Toby Trent, linebacker West. Inside linebacker. Trent, great tackling skills, superstar ability. And he's going to fall 13th overall to the Predators. And they need help in the linebacking spot, so good place for Trent to fall. And great pickup by the Predators. So with the 14th pick, it belongs to the Pirates. Last round, they took Hastings out of West. And if you need their needs, go back. So with the 14th pick of the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Cleveland Pirates select Amari Talent, wide receiver East. So the Pirates get away their wide receiver needs after trading Neil Mendoza. So that was a big pickup for them. And Amari Talent, pretty good wide receiver prospect. Didn't do too well in college, but he should be a good receiver off his stats. So then again, now go look back if you need the New York Businessmen's needs. I'm not going to say anymore, just you can go back for any of them. With the 15th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Businessmen select Nell Wagner, middle inside linebacker, East. So another leader the Businessmen needed. This one, maybe actually their more of their Ronaldo Smith replacement. Corey Paul was more of a rusher, so yeah. Nell Wagner, good player, should do well in the league. Now with the Fishers, they have the 16th pick. And last round they took Dackerson. So with the 15th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, 16th pick, the Minneapolis Fishers select Noah Goodham, tackle West. So the top tackle prospect falls to Minneapolis as they get a little bit of a steal here as they feel another need with a great player. So now the 17th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft belongs to the Enforcers. They took Nestor Hood last time, a great steal. Let's see what they do this time. With the 17th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Houston Enforcers select Colton Kinsworth, tackle North. So the second best tackle prospect falls to Houston. They kind of were hoping for Noah Gotham, but Colton Kinsworth is a great addition as well. So we'll see how good he can do for blocking for their new QB and Warren Jones. So now with the 18th pick belonging to the LA Earthquake. Last time they took Terry Foster. Let's see who they take this time. With the 18th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the LA Earthquake select Caden Hollister, inside linebacker, South. So Hollister is going to going to LA, who used to be really good at the defense game last year. We'll see how good they are this year at it, though. As Caden Hollister, the rookie, should be able to help them a bit. Maybe not who they were looking for. I'm guessing they were looking for Toby Trent or Nell Wagner, but Hollister is a little bit of a consolation prize. So LA, not so good of a draft so far. But now, with the 19th pick, the Detroit Power on the clock. Last time they took Josiah Hands. Let's see what they take this time. With the 19th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Detroit Power select Amadi Erickson, defensive end, North. So the best defensive end now prospect. They got Josiah Hansen now. He was the best in the secondary now. They got the best on the D line. So, great pass rusher, as Matthew Harmon left, so he's that replacement. And he should be getting a few sacks at least this season. Can't wait to see what he's going to do. So now with the 20th pick in the JSFL season to draft, the sharp pass are on the clock. Last time they took Edward Phillips. Let's see who they drafted this time. So the 20th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Charlotte Bats select Uzama Lion, tackle, East. So Uzama Lion, another great tackle prospect. Should be great for Charlotte. Now the Natives are on the clock with the 21st pick. So last time they took William Hexel. Let's see who they take this time. So the 21st pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Seattle Natives select Tommy Jensen, tackle, West. So another great tackle from West, and it's going to go to the Natives. So they lost Philip Barnes, so that's just pretty much his replacement. And now Kansas City Wind, they're on the clock. And with the 22nd pick, last time they took Ian Petty, let's see who they take this time. With the 22nd pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft. No, the 23rd pick, actually, my bad. With the 23rd pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Kansas City Wind select Brandon Optic, tackle, East. So the Wind select Brandon Optic, and that is 4 straight tackles in a row. Now, with the final pick of the second round and the 24th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Yale Monsters last time selected Humphrey Charles. Let's see who they pick this time. With the 24th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Phoenix Yale Monsters select Esteban Sylvesters, wide receiver, South. So Esteban Sylvesters number 1 in the depth chart for South, but Nestor Hood obviously had that better season. He had taken 19 picks before Sylvesters, but falls to a great team as they won the JSFL championship last year. So we'll see what he can do cooking in Phoenix on a starting role, most likely. So now that brings us to the final round of the night, round 3. Round 3. So with the 25th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft belonging to the Predators, last time they selected Troby Trent. Just to remind you of their needs a little bit, they still need a running back, corner, or secondary help, a little bit of offensive line help, and linebacker was still a need. Outside linebacker now. So the 25th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Atlanta Predators select Joshua Hexel, linebacker, North. So Hexel, the pass coverage guy, they got their tackler, now they want their pass coverage guy, and that's going to be Josh Hexel out of North. He did some pretty good things in North defensively, and is going to Atlanta. And that should be a pretty nasty defense on at least the linebacking spot. Dan Marino, Toby Trent, and Josh Hexel. So he gets taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 15, 16 picks after his cousin, William Hexel. And so now, you know, I used to be a Detroit Power fan. Now I'm a Atlanta Predator fan because I'm on the Predators. So, yeah. With the 26th pick belonging to the Cleveland Pirates, no trades had happened this far in the draft. I'll give you a little spoiler. There was a few trades in the draft later on. The Cleveland Pirates selected last time Amari Talent. Let's see who they select this time. With the 26th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Cleveland Pirates select Sammy Winter, guard, North. So the second best guard prospect is going to go to the Pirates, as guard Jermaine Smith is not great at all. So they wanted a better guard, and they went Sammy Winter. And last time, the New York Bismen selected Noah Wagner, a Ronaldo Smith replacement. Let's see who they pick this time. With the 27th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the New York Businessmen select Larry Hidway, defensive tackle, South. So the number one overall defensive tackle, not best in college, Larry Hidway, is going to go to New York as Eddie Stocks wasn't doing it for them. So Hidway, nice place for him to go, defensive mind coach. And so hopefully he has some good plans for their coach. So last time the Fishers took Noah Goodham, and mind you, of their needs, they need defensive end, maybe a backup running back, and nothing much else. So with the 28th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Minneapolis Fishers select Renee Galvin, defensive end, East. Maybe not the top defensive end prospect they wanted. Was the defensive prospect they're going to get, and Galvin's pretty good, but not what they wanted, and probably Amadi Erickson, who they could have taken last round and waited for a tackle, but they kind of lost out on that. They could have probably got they would have probably got Brandon Optic if they waited, which isn't bad. That's only like 5 overall less. But Renee Galvin is 9 overall less than Amadi Erickson, so a little bit of a loss there for Minneapolis, but a good pick. So last time, the Enforcers selected Colton Kinsworth, and let's see if they pick this time. So with the 29th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Houston Enforcers select Cole Wadded, linebacker, West. So they needed linebacker help. That was their biggest weakness last year besides QB. And tight end, maybe. And this helps them out, getting Cole Wadded, nice linebacker from West, and he should do pretty good in Houston's setup. So with the 31st pick belonging to LA, last time they took Hayden Hollister. Let's see who they get this time. So the 31st pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the LA Earthquake select Will Lawson, linebacker, West. So the other linebacker, outside linebacker from West, goes to pick after his friend, and he's going to go to LA. So we'll see what he does there. Not much to comment on that. So with the 32nd pick belonging to the Detroit Power, last time they took Amadi Erickson. Great draft so far from Detroit. See what they pick this time. So with the 32nd pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Detroit Power select Raquis Hernandez, wide receiver, West. So the second best speedster in this really good wide receiver class is going to be Raquis Hernandez. That long bomb Richardson can hit. Him and Hugh Brooks is going to be a matchup nightmare for any defense. So Hernandez and Allen Simmons are going to help this Detroit wide receiver core so much more this season. So the 33rd pick belonging to the Charlotte Bats. Last time they took Uzama Lion. Let's see what they take this time. So it's the 33rd pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft. The Charlotte Bats select DeAndre Baller, linebacker, South. So an outside linebacker from South is going to be selected by the Bats as they need the linebacker help and they got a linebacker. These picks aren't the greatest in linebacker prospects, but they're still pretty good, solid picks. That's where we're kind of at with the linebacker prospects. Pick that has I'll talk about who's on the board still after we're done here with this round. So the 34th pick belonged to the Seattle Natives. 33rd pick, I believe. Yeah, 33rd. Last time they took Tommy Jensen. Their needs are secondary, offensive line, back still, and that's pretty much it. So they took, with the 33rd pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Seattle Natives select Anthony Turner, center, North. So they get an offensive line person, best center in the class, and hopefully he does well in Seattle. Now with the 34th pick belonging to the New Orleans Musicians. Last time they took Trenton Wild. Great pick there, as he is the defensive end they needed. So let's see what they pick. With this pick, they still need offensive line and maybe backup QB, but we'll see. And that's pretty much it. Not even really backup QB, so their main thing was offensive line. So I bet you know what this is going. With the 34th pick in the JSFL season 2 draft, the New Orleans Musicians select Shaven Tadian, guard, but they're switching him to tackle. So Tadian going to be switched to tackle. Great player from East, and we'll see what he can do in New Orleans, protecting such guys. So last 35th pick belonging to Kansas City Wind. Last time they took Brandon Optic. Their big needs still are, again, all the defensive side. So pretty much that's it. And offensive line. So at the 35th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Kansas City Wind select Ricky Goldens, the powerhouse from South. Great linebacker, great safety. Strong safety, and he is a great player. Strong player. We'll see what he can do in Kansas City. That's a great pick there. And with the final 36th pick of the 3rd round, belonging to Phoenix. Last time they took Esteban Sylvesters. See if they take this pick in the last pick of the night here for rounds 1 through 3. So the 36th pick in the JSFL Season 2 draft, the Phoenix Skill Monsters select Julio Odom, linebacker from South. And that is going to round out what was the first 1 through 3 rounds of the JSFL Season 2 draft. Rounds 4 through 7 will be next. And that was a great draft, great round, I should say. Or great rounds. As top players still left on QB, there is still Kyle Shooter and Cole Nicholas. Halfback, all of them are actually still here. You got Warren Rocker, not a single halfback was taken in the first 3 rounds. There's Warren Rocker, Ruben Page, Sam Hart. Those are the big guys. Wide receivers on the board still. I'd say the top one's got to be Austin Myers still on there. Sammy Cornelius. Yvonne Ifsten. Those got to be top 3 guys. And then tight ends. Not a single tight end was taken either yet. Danny Edwards is the big one. He's got to be the best one. Offensive line, you still got Toby Bronze, Darren Piper. That's going to be the 2 best ones. Then defensive ends, you got Adali Kaysen and Washington Torrey. Then linebackers, you have not many. Oh, no linebackers are actually left besides Frank Render. So that's actually the only linebacker left. And then secondary, the probably second least picking position besides halfback or tight end. So third. Least taken on the defensive side. Still got big names like Trevor Wedden, a corner, the best corner in the draft. Israel Ryan, Shutdown Ryan's still on there. And then Kendall Carls is Denzel Crazy, he's on there. Stephon Lester, Daryl Toner, and those are your big guys. Mission Beasley as well. And that is it for left, and I'll see you rounds 4 through 7 in the JSFL Season 2 draft.